So this is going to be the first time I'll be presenting in public. Well, that's kind of a lie. I presented twice before in classrooms, but this is going to be the first time I'll actually be presenting to people like professionals, like other business owners, bankers, and people of that sort. I'm very excited. I'm also very nervous. But we'll see how this goes. Throughout this video, I'm going to be dropping little tidbits of things I wish I would have known, as well as pieces of advice that really helped me in the presentation. If you guys request it, I can put the entire presentation up as just one whole thing. I might do that the next time I present, maybe. But we'll see. For this, though, it's mainly just going to be pointers, advice, things I wish I would have known, things that really would have helped me. And then I'm also going to link 2 videos below that I had watched before doing this. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. Well, hello everyone. My name is Danielle Como. I am a Marine, a student, and an artist. I've been drawing and painting ever since I was a kid. After high school and through the military in my off time, I tried doing freelance artwork for particularly game design. And because I didn't have the gear that I needed, like the laptop and the tablet, the software and all that was recommended by the industry, I couldn't give the contractors or the contracting firm, I couldn't give them what they wanted. So whenever I would apply, they would say, well, that's great, but can you put it in a digital format? And I would have to say no, just because I didn't have what I needed to do that. And at first I thought that this was a problem that only I dealt with, but through my college years, or through my college experience, I've been talking to more and more artists who are facing the same exact issue, especially as software prices are becoming more and more expensive because the demand is growing. And from that, I just have developed this idea that is becoming known as Lost in Thought Art Studio, or Lit Studio for short. So artists need a place to grow. There is a new arts district here in Columbia. It's called the North Village Arts District, and it's great, but the artists that I've been talking to, and myself included, find it to be a little bit dated and more for the older and traditional artists. It's not really a place that us younger artists feel welcome as we try to adapt these new technological arts, particularly animation, cinematography, and video game creation. So local artists in that category, they want a place where they can develop their skills, and they want something that they feel a part of. They want a community that they feel like they can grow with. Currently, Columbia doesn't have that. We're full of developing artists, but we just don't have a place for them.
Oops, don't do that.
To bridge that and make a place where they can be successful by giving them support to really develop their skills and their passion. Lit Studio offers professional equipment and classes for aspiring digital and audiovisual artists to develop these skills and passion. Within Columbia, and my target to really develop their skills and their passion. Lit Studio offers professional equipment and classes for aspiring digital and audiovisual artists to develop these skills and passion. Within Columbia and my target market, the primary one is these 15 to 25-year-old artists, and then secondary are going to be retiring individuals who are simply looking for a new hobby. And within that total, out of the 118,000 people in Columbia, that makes up about 49,000 people. Unfortunately, there are no polls to find out the exact number of artists and what type of art that they do. So to really test this theory, we're going to have to do pop-up shops. But for the primary and secondary market, between the two, it is about 49,000. For the primary market, we are looking at low-income artists, as this is a low-income area, and those between 15 and 25 typically don't make more than $20,000 a year. In Columbia,
Okay, so something to note, especially if you are having like two markets like I do, finding a good way to transition between those with a presentation would be a good idea, especially because like with what you guys just saw, I went from one target market to the next and then back to the first one and then stayed on that one and then touched on the second one and then went back, and it's just confusing. It's definitely easier to transition on an essay or something like that, but on a presentation definitely need to figure out how to transition on that, so it's the mental note.
Filmmakers, film editors, illustrators, everything of that sort. Graphic design is expected to grow by 4% in the job market within the next 8 years. Game developers are estimated to grow 12%. Multimedia and animation are expected to grow by 4% annually. So there is growth for these artists to find a job. As far as the actual industry looks, graphic design, and this includes services, studios, marketing firms, they currently bring in $198.7 million of Missouri sales. They're also expected to grow a total of 4% with the job market. Game production in itself grows 12% annually and makes $25.4 million in the U.S. Within Missouri, I looked it up, and there's currently no actual game design firm. We have Como Game Dev, which is a place for young game creators to learn skills and learn from professionals, but there's no actual company for them to go to. As far as co-working is concerned, it's expected to grow 6% annually between 2019 and 2022, and it currently has a global value of $26 billion. The first co-working space was founded in 2005, so as far as any sort of political, legal issues or regulations.
Okay, I guess this is thing number 3. And this is for those of you that are, whenever you do your industry part and your market part, if you say that you looked it up, that kind of makes you wonder, did you look up the last thing? Because it's like, of course you looked it up. Of course you did. But it's just, that sounded weird to me. So, I don't know. If you think that sounds okay, you think that sounds okay. If you don't, then you don't. But I think that it sounded a bit funny, so we need to not do that.
There's going to be class opportunities, and those for mentors and coaching, which right now the only competitor within Comp for that is really the Career Center. However, they are closed during the summer, and they're only open to those that are 18 years old. They also cost more than our monthly membership. And the last, definitely the most prevalent, I feel, is the self-made artists, those who save their money and get what they need, and those that don't really want to get out of the house and rather just stay home and make their own way. So as far as startup costs are concerned, these are all the lovely things. Webcom Mobile Studio and the iMac Pro, those are the 2 workstations. iMac Pro is particularly for audiovisual, like filmmaking.
Okay, so that last piece that you just watched, that was more from a feasibility analysis I did of this, where I looked at the political, social, economical threats and opportunities of doing this studio. Kind of weird to put it in a pitch presentation, so I don't recommend that. I guess with your pitch, just stick to what's on the slides. Expand on it, but don't, like, doing all the detailed research on the feasibility analysis. People don't care about that. They just care if what your idea is, if you thought about the risk, where you're at, what you need to do, if you need any help, particularly. So again, another note.
$157 or $157,000, and that includes any services that are associated with memberships. That includes the utilities, rent, wages, and also just the regular administrative and merchandise, cost of goods sold, services, and all that. So that's how I got that number. The revenue is going to come from these main revenue streams. We got memberships, classes, non-member, which will be day and week classes, or day and week passes, coffee, merchandise, and a gallery rental for artists to show off their work. What that looks like as far as expected revenues, and this is at full capacity, mind you, is that we would have to sell about $150 worth of the artist's art, because it will be a 20% profit from them. And then as far as merchandise, have to sell about $300 worth of merchandise. Coffee came down to about 150 cups a week. I expect that to be a little bit lower because we are not a coffee house, so people are not going to seek us out for coffee. As far as the users go, these are all broken down into, essentially what I did is I looked at the number of workstations, multiplied it by the number of hours that we would be open, which for the artists that have memberships, that's 24/7. So that's what the full capacity number is going towards, and I essentially broke it down between the different memberships. If we didn't sell anything else, if we didn't sell any classes, no coffee, no merchandise, anything like that, then to break even, we would need to sell at least 130 of the basic memberships, 55 of the second tier, 10 of the third, and 1 of the Grandmaster membership. So what's next? We're expecting to open in August. I would love it if we could open in June and catch that early summer crowd. However, I am still going to college, so really it depends on finishing that semester out and working on this at the same time. I'm also looking for grant opportunities, because with the classes, I would love it if I can make it free to all CPS students. And we're also looking to start a Kickstarter in May to help pay for those startup costs. If any of this sounds interesting and you'd like to keep up to date with us, we have social media and we also have a website. Please follow us. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Okay, so a few finishing thoughts for now. I'm sure I'll probably have a lot as I watch this more and more. Too long. It went to, I think, about 10 minutes. If you're doing a pitch, it should be between 5 and 6. And that was really my fault, because the morning of doing this presentation, I had added a few slides because I thought it would really clarify some things. That's not what a pitch is for. So if you are doing this, I would suggest keeping it as basic as possible, because then in the Q&A that follows this presentation, if they have any clarifying questions, you can put all that extra stuff in. So things I would probably take out, explaining all of the expenses, I probably would have cut down on, because it's pretty evident that this is going to be expensive. And the type of memberships, I think, saving that for the Q&A. The calculation of getting my revenues, probably could have saved that for the Q&A. What else? The last slide of what's next, where we are, I went backwards on the bullet points and I explained a little bit too much on them. I probably could have just read them off verbatim. I don't know. This whole recording in public thing is still awkward for me, but I would say probably those would be the key points. Anything else? I think that's it for now. I also really need to work on how I move around and present, because there was a lot of shoulder shrugging and playing with my hands, and it just so I'll probably work on that. But anyway, I think that's all my initial reactions to watching this. If you guys saw anything, please comment below. I will take all the help and responses I can get. If you think it was great, tell me that. If you think it was horrible, tell me that. If you think there's something else I should look at, let me know. But I think that's it as far as like initial reactions go. Yeah.